Gotta get things going this morning. Hello everybody, welcome to Uprising. We're gonna be talking a lot today about, well, how to kill parasites, how to make an anti-parasitic smoothie, all sorts of different things like that. First thing I'm gonna do is you want to really activate the immune system. And the magical stuff I have found for immune systems are mushrooms and hydrogen, and of course really clean water. So right now I'm going to start. This is how I literally do my routine, and I don't give you guys any medical advice, I don't make any medical claims, and I don't make any claims for or against any product or products, which is why I'm literally just showing you what I do. So let's have a little bit. These are a very special mushroom pill, technically from Japan. They discovered a new way of extracting a specific component. I'll try to put a link down below, but it's hman.petclub247.com. I know that's kind of a trick kind of website. So I start with that empty stomach. Now I already drank hydrogen water, which you guys did not see because I did it off camera because I already did it. And then the other thing you want to do for like parasites, and all this leads to the other topics that we're talking about, is clean your water, which is a carbon distiller. That's the only way that you're going to be able to clean all parasites, bacteria, viruses, all this stuff out of your water. Okay, so start like that. Now I'm going to show you how to make an anti-parasitic smoothie, because all these techniques that I do, not only have they been, originally they were just to get my health right. That's all they were designed to do. That's all I was trying to do. What I did not know is in time it would start clearing up my blood, along with the hydrogen has really been the key. And it basically created some very interesting reactions in my body that had just kind of brought me through some revelations. So I'm going to show you guys how I do it. And that's all I can do. Just show you how I'm doing it. That's all I'm doing here. Okay. So let's start with this anti-parasitic vacuum smoothie, because it is, the body is something special, and you have to figure out how to bring out the special parts of it. So first, you have to super clean. Everything's about purity. When I mean purity, we got to get the parasites out of the body. I'm going to show you in a little later how I do that. But right now, first I gotta make the nutritional smoothie, which is also not only an anti-parasitic smoothie, and a lot of ingredients are also anti-cancerous, but it really is, although it has all these functions, what we really wanna do also is get all the nutrients. So let's start with that. And the science, if you guys know, I'm a data-driven guy, so the science is about overcoming nutritional deficiencies, really seem to be the key to good health, but also the body responds to food. So if you want to know what I'm using, this is because of the purity. It's literally called Purium. I mean, it has to do with purity, high quality. It's called Power Shake. The one I use is from a website called iShop Purium, P-U-R-I-U-M. I really should put those links up for you guys. And actually, if you want a discount code and you want to support what I'm sharing with you guys, the discount code is Uprising144K. So that's what I start with. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in there, now this one you don't have to, but look up if you want to, how matcha, or green tea, quote unquote, depending on how you want to look at it. Now this one's from Japan. I don't use the stuff from China because it's all, again, about purity. I've seen the lab tests. Definitely went with the 100% organic Japanese one. Anti-parasitic, anti-cancer, all the stuff I've been talking about. And how eventually that relates to actually deeper spiritual, either be connections or experiences, which sounds really odd. I'll tell you right now, I know that sounds odd. It's not something that I expected to happen while I was doing this, but it is exactly what happened. And so that showed me the realization that the human body is much more than what we think it is. Now, if you want to activate some stem cells too, and do good stuff for your brain, raw cacao. I'm gonna put some of this in there too. Potentially anti-cancerous too, good minerals. all sorts of interesting attributes. I know cacao is really good. And again, if you want to activate the brain and what they call the pineal gland, and like I said, your stem cells. Okay, now this one's from rncstore.com. Again, discount code uprising144K. This is actually ground up apricot seeds, good omegas, good anti-cancer properties. And in my opinion, I'd have to look it up. A lot of times my opinions end up being actually correct, quite often actually. Every time I verify my hunches, they tend to be right well over 90% of the time. I think this stuff's probably anti-parasitic, but we'll look it up later. But it does show to be anti-cancerous. Now what I like to do is I also like to put, I always put minerals in the smoothie, and minerals and nutrients. And this time I'm using this one because it was a gift from somebody. But ordinarily I just put the drops in there. Okay, let's keep moving forward. Let's see here. And of course, oh no, I just realized I am running extremely low on greens, but guess what? I do have enough, so yay. So this is how I start the smoothie. All these powders, this is how it all begins. Because that's gonna go into the food and work with the fiber. More and more data coming out about fiber. It's gonna blow your mind, at least blowing my mind. And again, back to the purity and the parasites. You may think that fiber has no function when it comes to parasites. I beg to differ, sir. You know, I really do think it actually makes a huge difference. But the question is why? Why would fiber make a difference? Here, let's see what time it is. I got to get to work today and I'm running behind today. Okay. So let's see here. Why does fiber play a difference when it comes to parasites? Well, many things. One, helping regulate blood glucose. That is one. And you want to regulate your blood sugar levels because when they get out of control, it actually increases risk of bacterial infections, which, by the way, there is a correlation between bacteria and parasites. Basically, all sorts of infections, you're at higher risk when you have more sugar running through your blood. So that's just one thing. The other thing, fiber is really great for cleaning the system. So cleaning the GI, it's almost like a broom going through there. And if you don't clean up the GI, then nasty things begin to appear and parasites are just kind of drawn to such things. So that's another reason. Another reason that fiber is also really good, excuse me, is because, and by the way, if you have questions, you're welcome to ask them. And actually, Feminine Soul Awakening says, thanks for the wonderful information, dear soul. Any advice for natural healing from ovarian cancer? I am not into pharma meds. Yeah, actually, so again, I don't give medical advice. For the C word, I will say I have a very extensive protocol. That's one of the harder things, probably not the hardest, because some things you just can't even treat. But it is one of the hardest things to deal with, and it's a more involved protocol where unfortunately I really have to like sit down with the individual and really go over a lot of things. If you wanted some simple things, one I showed already, absolutely clean your water. People don't realize the number of ingredients. And I mean, there's so much stuff in water, and I mean, you can call them ingredients. Clearly they're just contaminants. But there's stuff in the water, so many things that appear to be cancer causing or really aren't going to do you any favors in regards to dealing with that. So that's why I always tell people start with really, really clean water. Now that doesn't mean that clean water is going to fix your issues. You have to just remember that you have to prevent the very thing that's causing the issue in the first place. So, and the relationship that it appears that cancer has with parasites is some obviously relatively new data. We've known for a little while now. Here, hold on a second. I'm gonna grab some more ingredients here. And so that's the first thing. You also want to create an environment that parasites don't like. Oh, shnikes. Hold on. I keep having all these surprises. I just realized I got no garbage bag. Get the garbage bag. So, yeah. That would be the first thing, is always clean your water. Good health starts with clean water. Extremely important. The other thing you want to think about, you want to think again about an environment in the body that you don't want parasites in. Now this is what's interesting. For example, if we were to talk about hydrogen, that would be my next thing. I would always start with clean water and then clean hydrogen. And obviously I recommend the device I use. There's a reason I use it. But you want something that makes both the water and the gas inhalation, because not only there's so many positive effects from hydrogen, and they have shown in studies, you can see some of them, about the many positive effects for something potentially like the C word. And that would be another thing. But also, where I found studies about the effects of hydrogen on parasites. So that's another pretty wild one. And then, of course, overcoming any nutritional deficiency is always going to be important when it comes to dealing with something like cancer. Now, the mushroom pills I took, I don't know if you saw them, I highly, highly recommend those for the C word. That stuff, in my opinion, is going to be very important. You know, the other one would be certain things that I just can't tell you on here, but I'll just say, because you don't have to type them, even if you think you can guess them, and you probably can. But you have to know how to use certain anti-parasitics, in my opinion. Again, no medical advice. I'm actually going to take one today, but first I'm making a smoothie because it's really designed to be taken with certain quote-unquote food and nutrients. So I'm going to do that. But you're basically just seeing my morning routine, and I have a very, very anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic routine. Why? Well, here, let me throw some blueberries. Hold on. Oh boy. Let's see if we have enough. Might have to go get more. Let's try with what we got. But to be honest, I got more downstairs. But just gonna go with this right now. Okay. That really looks like I need more. Okay. All right, now let's put some almonds. Normally, I like to use for quote-unquote anti-cancer stuff, you can read about the studies on it, is walnuts. I'm just putting some almonds today, just because I sometimes change it up a little bit. Good omegas, good fats, good proteins, good fiber, all sorts of good stuff from the almonds. Now I'm going to put a little bit of raisins. Raisins, probably not necessarily a super good thing for cancer. They do have boron though, and I'm a fan of boron, so I'm going to put just a little bit. I don't put a lot. I put very little raisins. And it brings a little bit of sweetness to the smoothie. Now, let's put a little bit of hydrogen water in it now. Hold on. So we're going to do some of this. Let it soak into the food. Not just the water, but the hydrogen soak in the food. Okay. Then, let's go ahead and add some hydrogen chia seeds, full of fiber, omegas, minerals, lots of good properties. Put that on. Put these back. Today, dare I say, of course, a little bit of a hurry. Like most of us, we have to all go to work. So let's see here. Next one. let's go another anti-cancer ingredient in my opinion that's super good for us, and that would be ginger. Ginger has so many health properties, and specifically anti-parasitic. You'll start noticing a pattern that anti-parasitics oftentimes have a connection to being anti-cancerous, potentially. Looks like a feminine soul awakening commented something and they removed it. So very good, very good. I understand. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little ginger to this. Everything in here is organic. Why organic? Again, anything with a large amount of pesticides, and look, there's probably going to be some. There's always residue. I rarely find a lab test without certain type of some of these pesticides. However, you want to minimize the amount as much as possible, because the more you pollute your blood, the more you pollute your body, guess what? The more parasites like the environment. So that's another thing. All right, keep moving forward here. Now, putting a little bit of a beet that was left over. I think I'm going to go with a bigger one. Hold on a sec. Obviously this is live, so it's not like it's a very fast video. It's not choreographed or whatever, or scripted or anything like that. It's just me doing the routine that got me through my unfortunate health problems that I had that were extremely severe. I definitely had parasitic infections, by the way. I had a lot of parasites. I mean, I saw them come out of my body and it was kind of uncomfortable, but it ended up being a really good thing. Learning more about it and clearing the body, and not even expecting it to end up being quote unquote something, dare I say, spiritual. I wasn't expecting that. But again, you know, you have certain experiences in life, and I've had a lot of them where clearly it was trying to show me, hey, you might want to go in this direction. Look at the size of this beet, by the way. Not beautiful? All right, let's see, how much of it do we want? And more anti-parasitic ingredients. And I like beets. They're crunchy, they're sweet. I love the color. They stain everything. Somebody the other day was asking me, why do you wear an apron? For this reason right here. See, I'm wiping my hands on it, and so that I don't stain anything I have on right now, even though I'm not wearing anything fancy or anything, but still don't want to stain everything on me. I'm sorry to hear about your seed thing, and it will be a lot of work to go natural. I personally have seen my protocol. I've definitely seen it work, but also sometimes people want to cut corners, and in my opinion, you never want to do that with the C word. You need to be extremely diligent and aggressive, and you just don't mess around, you know. And there's so many different ways to go at it, because there's different kinds and they react to different things. And so, you know, I have my own personal opinions, but of course I always respect whatever somebody wants to do, but oftentimes I may not even agree with it. So I've seen too many people fail because they didn't want to be diligent enough or strict enough, or they get scared, and that also happens, unfortunately. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Let's go with a little bit of celery I have left over here. Of course, everything being organic as much as possible. So far, everything in here is organic. And then, of course, you know, getting all your nutrient levels up. Anything that gets the body's own immune system to the best that it can be, it makes it better for fighting off, yeah, even the C word, but the parasites too. You know, any type of infection. I've seen amazing things as far as infections and hydrogen and clean water. It was actually not something I expected, but extremely surprising. Okay. Let's get a little bit more celery. I might have to actually go get some more of those blueberries, but we'll see if we even have enough room. This picture's kind of small, if you guys notice. My old Vitamix is gone. Thinky dink. Do what Greg does and look into the Rife and Tesla scalar devices. Spooky 2-in-1 I see a lot of. Yeah, I'm not into those particular Rife and scalar devices at this time. Unfortunately, I've seen too many things where those type of technology, I think it's good technology. And I do think that we're going to get it right someday. The problem is, just like hydrogen, when you get it wrong, it can potentially cause more problems rather than solving them. And I've seen that, unfortunately, in the world of hydrogen a lot, especially, you know, like, especially with devices using things like lye, you know, sodium hydroxide is just terrible for the body. And I've seen it with heavy metals. I've seen it with non-medical grade gases. I've just seen too much stuff. And the frequencies, I know that I've seen the science on them, but we are still in baby land. So the ones that they're selling, in my opinion, are probably, I've tried equipment like that. I used a really fancy, expensive one from Japan. And the particular one that I use is very different than the ones that they sell, and probably better actually. But even then, unfortunately, it did not fix my health issues. And I've shown you guys the simple techniques that I use. I'm telling you right now, it's all about purity right now until we get to, until we get to higher levels in the technology. How do I get the machines you have, says Jamon. Well, it depends which one. Are you talking about the one that purifies water? Are you talking about the one that makes the hydrogen, water, and gas inhalation? Yeah, which one are you talking about? You talking about the nutrients? I don't know, which, or what machine or what product are you exactly referring to? Okay, almost done here. Got to keep moving relatively quickly. Now let's go with a super amazing, super cheap, wonderful product that I call the carrot. These are organic carrots. Carrots have a ton of really good healthy attributes, even appearing to be anti-parasitic. And then Tiffany waves, smiles, and he says hydrogen and carbon distiller. Okay, so the hydrogen machine that I definitely use, and it's the only one at this time that I see it's even worth buying, that's the one from a website called holyhydrogen.com. And if you want a discount code, you can use it, Uprising144K if you like, and get a little discount. And for the carbon distiller, the one that I use is an American-made one, so I don't use the Chinese ones. Just like hydrogen machines, pretty much everything out there is actually made in China. Even when they claim it's not, I've seen you chase it down and whatever. And the same thing with distillers, it's kind of similar, but the one I found, they're American-made. They just run and run and run, and just like my blender, I abuse it. And I mean, I don't abuse it. What I mean by abuse it is I use it all the time. It's like getting a car and putting a lot of miles on it. And that one's found on a website called mypurewater.com. You can even watch video 388 if you want to see the quote-unquote lab tests. And that one also gives you a decent discount with the code Uprising144K. And so yeah, just like I said, just clean water and hydrogen, just that right there is literally your foundation. And then, of course, getting all your nutrients. You can get your nutrients in different ways. I make these smoothies because, well, I've told you, I'm a data-driven guy, and what I found in the data is that the human body responds best to food. So I try to use food in every which possible way and absolutely minimize taking pills and stuff like that, depending on what it is. I mean, it's not like I'll never take a pill, but it's not a habit. I definitely don't take, 100 of them or even 10 of them. I take very little, and of course, get blood work, making sure that you have no nutritional deficiencies. That is something that is, in my personal opinion, extremely important. Now, granted, I have that opinion based on the data on that. And then I'm going to show you if I can remember. John Moon says, thank you. You're welcome. And hopefully I'll remember here to take I like to do it later in the day, but I'm going to be taking an anti-parasitic. That does, I can't say what it is. You don't have to type it in because it'll probably just get deleted. Martine says, hello, Greg. Did your Vitamix really die? Are you using the Blend Tech now? Yes, the Vitamix, well, it didn't, I mean, it still runs, but it makes some weird noises and there's like shavings of metal everywhere. And I just think that something is, it just, yeah, something doesn't seem right with it. So yes, I am using the system from a website called void-system.com. That one, they gave a good discount too. The code is still Uprising144K, but they're offering a good discount. I'm gonna go, and yes, that's what I'm gonna be using today. So you guys get to see if it'll work or if I'm just gonna literally burn up this blender. I did it the other day and it worked. It appeared to work, but you know, I jam-packed these smoothies and I'm thinking about going to grab a few more blueberries, to be quite honest. I feel like, you know what, that's okay, I'll skip it today. I'm just too busy. I do have multiple work appointments today, so. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. This smoothie is gonna be a little smaller than the ones I normally like to make, but let's go ahead and do it. So what we do, now I'm actually gonna what's called vacuum blend the smoothie. Suck the oxygen out so that it won't oxidize the food while it's basically being chopped up. So hold on. I do feel like I'm forgetting something in this smoothie today, but this is the vacuum blender. First, I wet the corners of it. And then, let's see. Somebody says, oi, not good. Void fits on the Blend Tech. Yeah, it might. This one's, I think they're basically the same company, is my understanding. Okay, so put this on here. And let's turn it on. And let's hit go and watch the water rise. There it goes. There it goes. Oh yeah. If the water rises too high, stop the vacuum because you don't want it sucking into the pumps of the vacuum part of the blender. Okay. Now let's see if it'll actually blend it. This is the new blender. Let's see if this will work. Now, I do shut off the Blend Tech, the vacuum thing while it's blending because I don't want it sucking up anything while it's doing it. So let's see if it works. Looks pretty good. Wow. Yeah, it works good. And Jamoon says, my name is Jody. I have inflammation throughout my body. Well, that sounds like what I used to have. And I have Barrett's disease, horrible back pain. Oh, that's what I used to have too. I couldn't walk. I mean, that's how bad mine was. That's so sad. This is what I did to fix it. All right. I think we're almost done here. I'm going to show you a few magic ingredients. All these are good for inflammation. This whole smoothie is anti-inflammatory. Super clean water with good stuff in it, in my opinion, is anti-inflammatory because of the hydrogen that we're going to put into the water, which I already did. I already drank it. You can watch my other videos on how I do it. And then this other stuff, this ingredient's going to be anti-inflammatory, anti-cancerous in my opinion, good brain function, good for bones, good for the immune system. These are just all my opinions because I'm not making any medical claims. I still think there's a few carrots and almonds that are trying to be chopped up there. Let me grab the other two ingredients because they're magical. Okay. Let's go get those. Okay. This is one of them. And let's make sure it's really blended here. Seems pretty good to me, but I just don't want any chunks in there. Martine thinks I forgot the chia seeds. I did put the chia seeds. can't remember what else I missed. Okay, seems good to me, guys. Now here's the other trick. How in the world do you get this lid off? Because you ain't getting this lid off. This thing is so vacuumed on there. It's suctioned on there. And first you pull the lid to release the pressure. Then I personally put a little tiny tissue underneath the valve to leave it open. And then I use a towel on the corner where the handle is, because it's a little sharp. And then I lift up on the corner. And you know, this one's been a little harder than the other one, which is weird because technically, oh, they should be the same. I'll tell you one thing, when my joints hurt, I wasn't able to do that. I totally understand, Jody. I literally couldn't lift a glass of water. And I'm not kidding. It was horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It ruined my life, but you know, like I said, it ended up being odd that the very things that I did were super clean food, clean your blood, get all the nutrients, super clean water. The hydrogen was really kind of the magical part, actually, because I did a lot of those things and wasn't getting all the results really. Very, very minimum. But the combination is what really seems to work really well for me. Okay, now, this is going to be a really thick smoothie. I kind of think, honestly, I think I should add more water to this. So let's do that. It's just so thick. And chunky. Hold on a second. And a little more water. Yeah, with the other blender, I used to be able to add more water. And you know what, let's just try this really quickly, just to mix it up a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. See if that helps. Looks better already. Okay, let's put one of the other magic ingredients here. I call it magic because I just feel like what the body does with all the stuff that you give it, literally just, let's see, Think Eating says, did anyone send you a blender to test? No. And you know, they probably should have. I'll tell you one thing, I did a lot of Vitamix stuff. Let's see, vitamin D is one of those magic ingredients. The body knows what to do with this thing, and I get D3 with K2 in its ionic form in liquid, is what I do. You don't have to do it exactly how I do it, but I'm kind of picky and strict about how I do it. Okay, tastes good. I wouldn't mind going and grabbing more blueberries and throwing them in there. They're also anti-parasitic, anti-angiogenic, so anti-cancerous basically. And they taste good. And they have all sorts of other benefits. Now I'm going to show you the last two ingredients. Hemp hearts, but hemp hearts, most well-balanced omega-3s and 6s in the world. Lots of protein, lots of good fats, and all sorts of good nutrients and minerals. And it's just literally unbelievable. Martine says, do you think vacuum makes a difference? Seems to be a good blender. Yes, I do think it makes a difference. That's why I literally bought it, because what I found out through the research is they actually tested the food before blended, after blended, blended with a vacuum blender, not a vacuum blender, same ingredients, and it clearly maintained higher nutrients in the food. So I believe that it's maintaining other properties too that are really important. So let me go ahead and show you the last ingredient here, and I'm going to sip on this too while we're at it. Okay, that came out good today. Let's grab excuse me. Let's grab this final ingredient here. I like to blow my nose before I use it. But they're all good blenders. Just the nice thing about the Void system is that it's actually cheaper. And it has the option to vacuum blend where the Vitamix didn't. This is the final ingredient. I'll be inhaling hydrogen gas, now pure hydrogen of extremely high purity, which is very key to your health, in my opinion. And I will grab here, hold on, let me grab this. I'm gonna grab something here. It's something that I'm using. Can't talk a lot about it. All I'll say is I'll use it in a little bit. This is this guy right here. It's the anti-parasitic stuff I was talking about. But I think hydrogen actually is also, in my opinion, just my opinion. And it was from a surprising study. So then, simple as that, guys. That is a morning routine. Let's see here, this phone's all crooked. That is a simple routine that I personally do. That easy. I haven't seen you at Natto for a while. I add it all the time. I just don't do it 100% of the time, you know? So it all depends on many factors, but I definitely have it. It's hard to find the room. Today would have been a good day, actually. But I definitely like Natto. Let me see real quick, just because kind of briefly talking about it. Let's see. So we added matcha, the green matcha, and there is a study. I had a feeling about this. This is why I'm looking it up for you guys, because somebody asked about the C word. There is a study that suggests that matcha, green tea, could be used in apoptosis inducing anti-cancer agent for something called retinoblastoma cancer treatment, with further rigorous studies, so they want to do more, but the promising baseline information on the potential blah, 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 blah. So, looks pretty good. They want to use the properties of it. Yeah, natto, that's it. Yeah. So I know I'm actually going to make a video, if you guys are interested, of a really, really, really high protein smoothie. It's going to have lots of fats, which I should be doing because this particular product I'm going to use for parasites today works really good with fats and nutrients. There's some research I found. But I can't really tell you much about it here on YouTube because, well, we don't have free speech anymore. Sorry. So, okay, let's see what else there is. They actually did a study on matcha for the cancer on zebrafish. Well, that's interesting. I knew it had good properties. How about, so clearly it does. How about, let's see what I can find about cacao. Because I had a feeling cacao is actually anti-parasitic, and I can look that up in a second. But there is research that shows that flavonols in cacao, which is that stuff, that powder, I put cacao in my smoothie, which is basically an ingredient in chocolate. But I don't like to use chocolate with the sugar and the milk and all that. This particular aspect of the cacao bean has been shown that it may reduce damage to cells that can actually lead to cancer development. So it's kind of like protecting your cells from going down that road. I'm sure I can find numerous more studies, but what I really wanted to look for was cacao as almost like an anti-parasitic. And, okay, this is probably what I was looking for. National Library of Medicine. Wow, I knew it. So I was right. I hate to say that, but it's like, I'm almost always right. And that sounds arrogant, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but when I get a hunch and I look things up, and sure enough, there is a particular part about cacao that has an interaction with something they call LGG and alters an antibody response to infections that have to do with nematode, ascaris, some parasites, it appears to have a positive effect on this type of parasite. That's just one of studies. Let's see if there's any more. Interesting. Cacao is medicine. Now, there's some info here, but let's see here. Nope, I guess I don't want to go there. How to hunt with that one. Okay, well, anyway, guys, actually, okay, there's some research on the microbiome. I'm really big on the microbiome, especially if you have inflammatory issues, like that lady was just saying a second ago that I also had. That's one of the reasons you want to purify your water. There's literally stuff in your water that completely screws with your microbiome. So you want to clean your water fully. Then, all these ingredients are actually really designed not just to be anti-parasitic, anti-cancerous, all this stuff, and anti-inflammatory and all the nutrients, but also really good for your microbiome. Inhaling this hydrogen while I'm doing it, absorption of nutrients, but also hydrogen has been shown to be really good for your microbiome. And cacao has very powerful prebiotic properties. So that's interesting, right? And I use it all the time. And that's just one of many ingredients. It basically shows that it's been fueling good bacteria in your GI. And for those of you who don't know, almost 80% of your immune system's in your gut. So gut health and inflammation, it literally goes right into that. There was a study done actually by the Department of Food and Nutritional Sciences. Blah, blah, blah. Simple fact, cacao. Very, very powerful. Let's see. It even reduced the numbers. This is what I like doing. This is what I'm sharing with you guys. Reduce the numbers and the growth of specific bacteria that causes bowel disease, inflammation, yada, yada, yada. It was called histolyticum bacteria. Clostridium, you know, all these Latin names. Try to sound smart. Now, what's interesting is that in pigs, and this is why I don't eat pork, they got some high levels of specific species that we also find, wow, okay, obviously something related with inflammation, but the positive effects on high cacao on those inflammatory levels. Wow, I think they must have done some studies on some pigs. So anyway, on and on it goes, really good for you. Okay guys, well hopefully that's it. I'm gonna let you guys go. I don't think you have any questions as far as I can see. Thanks for watching. And I didn't go into all the stuff. Well, actually, I will say this. I did tell you I was going to take this guy. And all I'll show you is how much I'm taking. Now, I don't know if this is going to help because it's just kind of a visual, but this is what I would do for myself. But this is definitely not medical advice, guys. You do not want to be doing this unless you know what you're doing. But I like to deworm every once in a while. And so that's why I do it. Well, I'll say it starts with an F, and to be taken with fats and to be taken with a lot of nutrients. Research is what I found makes it work better. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys.